It all started on a regular Thursday afternoon. I was out of town for a 3-day business trip, nothing unusual. My wife and daughter were home, just trying to enjoy a peaceful break from the usual neighborhood drama, or so we thought. Now, we've lived in our house for nearly 5 years. It's a small but cozy place in a neighborhood that's a weird mix. Half of it is under an HOA, the other half is. We deliberately bought our house outside the HOA limits to avoid the constant rules, fees, and nosy neighbors. But one neighbor in particular never liked that. Her name is Karen. Yes, that's actually her name. And trust me, she lives up to every stereotype you've ever heard. She's the self-appointed queen of the HOA. Even though she technically has no power over us, she still tries to micromanage everyone's lives like she's running for suburban dictator. Over the years, she's complained about everything. Our fence color, the way we park our car, even the types of flowers we plant. We've always brushed it off, since legally she has no authority over our property. But this time, she took it way too far. I was on a video call with a client when I got a frantic text from my wife. "The police are here. Karen called them. She's trying to force us to join the HOA." At first I thought I misread it. What? Police? For what? I stepped out of the meeting and immediately called her. She was shaken. Apparently that morning, Karen had come over bold as ever and told my wife that it was time to do the right thing and join the HOA. She claimed the neighborhood was changing and non-members were hurting property values. My wife politely declined, again. Karen didn't like that answer. An hour later, 2 police officers were at our front door. Karen had reported that there were suspicious individuals trespassing at our property and possibly unauthorized residents. In reality, she was trying to use the police as leverage to intimidate my wife into signing HOA documents. What made it worse? My 13-year-old daughter was there. She watched the whole thing unfold from the living room window. My wife calmly explained the situation to the officers, showed them our property deed, and made it clear we were not part of the HOA. To their credit, the officers were understanding. They quickly realized what was happening. Karen had wasted their time on a power trip. But Karen didn't back down. She stood on the sidewalk, arms crossed, trying to argue with the cops, saying things like, "This is about community standards, and they can't keep living here and ignoring the rules forever." One of the officers asked her point-blank, "Ma'am, are you saying they're violating any laws?" She just mumbled something about responsibility and shared values. Eventually, the officers told her to leave our property and stop harassing us. She stormed off in a huff, muttering about calling the HOA board and filing a complaint. A complaint? About what exactly? By the time I got back home that weekend, my wife and daughter were still rattled. My daughter asked me if we were in trouble. I had to explain to her that some adults just don't know how to mind their own business, and sometimes they try to scare others into doing what they want. We filed a formal complaint with the local police department about Karen's misuse of emergency services. We also got in touch with a lawyer to document the harassment, just in case she pulls anything like this again. Here's the crazy part. 2 days later, we got a letter in the mail from the HOA board. It was strongly encouraging us to consider voluntary enrollment, with a list of benefits and a polite reminder about neighborhood unity. I'm pretty sure Karen wrote it herself. Let me be clear, we're not against rules or community cooperation. But joining a private organization with mandatory fees, arbitrary rules, and nosy neighbors should always be a choice, not something you're bullied or tricked into. Karen may think she's the sheriff of the suburb, but she crossed a major line that day, calling the cops on a peaceful family just because they didn't want to join a private club. That's not neighborly, it's harassment. If you're dealing with someone like this in your neighborhood, document everything. Don't confront them emotionally. Stick to facts, the law, and your rights. Most importantly, don't let them scare you into giving up your freedom. As for us, we're installing more security cameras, locking down our privacy settings, and staying far away from the next HOA meeting. Karen can have her power trips with whoever chooses to follow her, but our family, we didn't sign up for a dictatorship. And we never will.